Hey, kia ora. Good morning, everybody. Thursday, 30th of July. One of the stories that I read this morning is about a couple trying to get back together. The wife, she's a New Zealand citizen, currently back in her hometown of Tauranga, so I understand. Her husband is a Australian, holder of an Australian passport. He's back in England trying to get to New Zealand. As I understand it, they've been together for 9 years. The wife came home earlier to get things set up, and her husband was going to follow. Unfortunately, COVID jumped in, and like we all know, the whole world has sort of blown up somewhat. However, the New Zealand government, quite properly and appropriately, decided that if you are the spouse of a New Zealand citizen holding a partnership visa because you're a foreigner, you can travel to New Zealand to be with your partner, even if your partner can't travel with you because they're already back in New Zealand. And that's how it should be. You know, we don't want to see New Zealand families of New Zealand citizens broken up. One problem, and this problem illustrates very clearly why Iain Lees-Galloway should have been fired, because he was just plainly incompetent on many matters, including this one. Second, it also shows how incompetent the government is to fail to understand and recognise this problem. And third, Immigration New Zealand. The senior management there and the policy people, this is just another example of how hopeless they can so often be. Why do I say that? Well, the country that provides the greatest number of spouses, non-New Zealand citizen spouses to a New Zealand citizen, just happens to be Australia. But it also happens not a single one of those Australians has ever needed a partnership visa. Why? Because if you're an Australian citizen on an Australian passport, you were able to travel to New Zealand freely on that passport, and on entry to New Zealand, you were immediately granted a residence visa. And that's how it has always been, and that's how it should be. So what is this business that one of the general managers of Immigration New Zealand says, "No, sir, sorry, you're not coming. You haven't got a partnership visa." How dare you say that to the New Zealand citizen partner waiting for her husband, that your husband can't come because up till recently we considered your husband a resident when he arrived in New Zealand. It just shows how useless and hopeless the Immigration of New Zealand policy people are in working this out, and how hopeless the government is by not stepping in and sorting it out. Jacinda, do what you need to do. Tell Chris Whaafoy, if necessary, sort it out and allow all Australian passport holders, if they are in a relationship, married to a New Zealand citizen, they can come to New Zealand. And that's my rant for this morning. Stay safe, everybody. 19 September, don't forget, 2 ticks in Auckland Central for me. And while the media thinks it's just a 2-person race, there's actually a few of us in there in that electorate running for Member of Parliament for Auckland Central. So 1 tick for me, the other tick for the party that has policies that are based on evidence, and that's TOP. So till next time, everybody, stay safe, look after yourselves.